would ever accept that as a consequence. I don't think that's the view of I mean, we heard second prop call himself like the magic man. I don't know much about that. I'm like the realist person. And I think like realistically speaking, when you're saying Musharraf has to accept, even with his like military power right now, that he's going to get charged with these sorts of crimes, he's not, right? No one's like, it doesn't work, the case falls, but let's make a whoopsie anyways. So, two things I want to talk about in two different ways about this. So the first question is like basically two different versions we've heard from opposition to proposition on what the Supreme Court is and its role inside Pakistan. And from what we've heard from proposition benches throughout this debate, and thank you, Richard, is the idea that, especially from second prop, the idea like somehow the Supreme Court is sort of like idealized like mandate power of the Constitution and they're going to hold it throughout. Whereas what we've shown, what we've argued in opposition, is that the Supreme Court actually holds a sort of moderating power and stance, where it deals with some sort of negotiations, basically, in some sort of power sense with Musharraf. Now, which of those is actually a better system? Now, what we heard from proposition was, right, well, look, there are these cases where Musharraf had to listen, like he couldn't get rid of the Supreme Court leader, or for example, he couldn't deal with Sharif coming back to the country. Well, actually, he kind of kicked Sharif out of the country 3 hours after he arrived, right? Like, and I think that highlights a critical question here, right? Which the point is that there are some ways in which we think Musharraf can come to some sorts of compromise, right? Compromises like letting Bhutto into the country. Compromises like trying to get himself be able to run in another term in response